Alright friends, welcome to the video. In this video, we will create some cool scroll based animation using Framer motion. So I get the inspiration for this project on this website called clarishmature.com, and not to distract with all of these other animation on their website, let's show you my version where we gonna see what we want to build today. Okay, so we're gonna have some random content in the top, maybe navigation and some hero section here. We don't care about that, and we scroll to this section that we want to build today. Okay, so this section actually, when we scroll, we're gonna see the another section behind it, and this section is kind of sticky on the top, right? It's not moving, and the other section, this also not actually not scrolling, actually we only revealing the section, so it's kind of overlapping each other, this project overlapping this section, and we want to create some kind of this effect. That is the first step, we want to do it. Okay, so after that we get this section, we get it scaled down, and then some perspective rotation on that, and then this section will go to the middle of the viewport, right? And we get some flying kind of image, or in this case I have some card and they have some parallax effect on them, and when they are out of the view we get this another animation. Now this section will scale back and get the full width, and then finally scroll out of the viewport, right? So random bottom content, so maybe footer and other stuff we will get here. So this is what we will be creating today. So let's go to the VS Code and see how we can build this. For this project, I will be using React and the Tailwind. I have already completed some basic setup, and I'm currently working on this app.tsx file. And this file is already opened in this Chrome browser on the local host. So this file does have some random content right now on the top and on the bottom, and our main content will go here where we want to apply our scroll animation. Okay, this will be the starting point of our project. Now we need to add some elements for our animation, so let's do it. Let's start with the div, and another div over here, maybe a to tag, and give it a name Nova Code. That is my YouTube channel name. Add some class name to it with full and height of maybe screen over here. After that we can add some class to this also, and that will be height of full, so that it will be full screen height. And let me make this one grid, place item center, so that everything will be on center. Maybe make it background black, and text of white, text of 8XL, and font should be something like bold, right? Let me just give the bold, and then if I save it, let's see what we have. So this is what we have so far. Okay, now if you remember, we need some section that is overlapping this section. So for that we just gonna create another div over here, and we will have h2 tag on this one, and then we can say projects for that. And then over here, let me just provide a paragraph, and let me just paste it what I want, so that you don't have to see me this typing. After that I need to add some style to it. Let's say I want it to be a absolute position, absolute, and inset 0. So for this to work, I need to have this parent div or relative basic CSS. Okay, after that let me style this one with background BACK background. Okay, so I have added this color on tailwind theme and I'm using this color. If you want to use the same color. All right, after that we need to style maybe this one with a grid, right? So I want everything on the center. Justify center, okay, and content center. Okay, so everything will be on center, and let me add some style to this. Just to text 8XL or something like that, and font bold. Okay, I think that will be enough for this. Let me add more style to this also, maybe text center, something like that. So if I save it, I will get something like this. Okay, so this is overlapping this other section, this div, and when we scroll we want to animate that, we will show the this div, that section which is inside this section, right? Okay, so this is how we want to set up for that. All right, so here let me just add one more thing. So this gap of like 5, so I have some space over here, and save it. After this I want to add one component that, if you remember, we have some card that is floating, right? So we get that card kind of thing pass through this. So I want to add those. I want to add that over here, but I want everything to wrap in one div. So let me just select all of these and add one div to it. Okay, so after that, inside this div I want to add another div that has those images, okay, like my cards. So I actually have already created this parallax image component which will take image path, okay, and I can provide image. I have some image name that is image1 jpg, and I can provide some class name to it, and I can provide the where I want it on the relative to this div. So I need to provide this div with some classes, as this should be a relative position, so that this parallax image can be absolute position to this parent, okay, this div. After that I want to provide this with a full screen height, and here I want it to be on the top 0 and maybe left of 5. So if you go check this component, it takes 3 things. So style, image path, and class name. Style, we want to give some parallax effect to it later in the video, so it will take this style. We can provide style, and from there we can provide that effect. So it takes that, and it takes the image path and class name. Class name will be added on this div, and it will return this div and this image, and image path, image will get this image path from here, the source, right? So this is simple component. It is very easy to make. So if you want to add this just like this, just you can use this way. Okay, I am using this because I want to make a little bit easier here coding this HTML and CSS, because this is not the main topic of our video. Our main topic and focus will be on the scroll animation. Okay, all right, so I need like few of these card, so let me just copy paste few more time. So this is already relative, and I just want to change some position to it. Maybe make this bottom, change this one to 10, and this one top, then I want this to be on the bottom, so that 2 on the bottom and 2 on the right, or something like that. Let me change this to right. If I save it, I get few things over here, but I need to change the image maybe Here I need image 2, I need image 3, and I need image 4 over here, and this one and this position is good, but I need to change one of this to the right. So I have few of this component. We will give some parallax effect to it, and it when we scroll, this one will fly on this section. Okay, all right, this will work for now. And the other thing that I want is I need some space in between these sections so that I can have scrolling space, and we can add some animation within that space, right? So let me just say div, let me just say closing div, and then add a class name to it and say height of 300 d dynamic view height, right? Okay, here. So if I do that, we can have some of space in between this. So when we scroll, we want the animation to complete within this space, right? So let me just copy this, and I want some more space after this div. Also these images, I want it over here, make it like 200, so I have some space on the bottom also to perform some animation when scrolling. I think that's all, but one thing you notice that I am giving everything the height of screen. Here this is also setting like 3 screen height, right? So this 300 dvh means I'm getting three screen size of height. Here I am giving it 2 screen size of height, and I am doing this for the purpose, because if we do something like this, when we calculating later in the video for the animation, that for the timeline, we need to find the exact position where when we want the animation to happen and when the animation to end, right? So if we give some specific height like this, we will know how much space we have to animate and when to end animate. Okay, so if that makes sense, so this is the reason we give the specific height to every section. Here you can see this is the height of screen, height of 300 dvh, height of screen again, and 200 dbh. Okay, so this is also important. Now we already completed the basic setup for this project. Now we will jump to the framer motion and see how we can apply the animation to these elements. Okay, to use the framer motion, first we need to install it. So let's come to the terminal and write down npm install framer motion. Okay, this will install the framer motion in our project. Once this done, we can just hide this and come over here and import from framer motion. And first thing we want to import is use scroll hook from this framer motion. Now we can use that use scroll here, and from this use scroll hook we can get this scroll y progress. Scroll y progress value will be in between 0 to 1, so just write scroll y progress over here. But currently this scroll y progress giving the value for this whole page, but we actually want the scroll y progress value from this div, right? So we have to target this div. So let's just say ref over here and provide the, let's say, name for it, target ref. Now we can use ref hook from React to target that. So we can say target ref equals to use ref hook. Okay, we gonna use this one, and the initial value may be null, and we have to import it. Once that is done, we can come over here and provide the object over here and say target will be this target ref, and we can also provide the offset value, which will be the array of two string, and the first string will say start. So we will just saying when the y scroll progress should get the value, starting value. Okay, and here we're gonna say end. And basically what it's saying is we want the scroll y value from when this start, this start of this div touches the start of the viewport, the screen. Okay, and it will give me the scroll y progress until the end of this div. So wherever the end of this div is, when it touches the end of this viewport, we will get this scroll y progress value. Okay, so to see that, we can see that in our dev tool also. For that we can import one more thing here, use motion value event. So we can use that. Let's see, use motion value event, and we will target this scroll y progress. And when this scroll y value is changed, I want it to run a function, and that will just say console.log. And here we can say scroll y progress, and I want to get the value from there. Okay, so if I save it and come to the here browser and go to the dev tools and see the console, now let me just cancel this. Now you can see when this top of the div touches this viewport, we get the value starting from 0 to until this div end meet the end of this viewport, and we will get the value 1. So we are getting scroll y progress from this use scroll hook. Okay, now we're gonna use this value from 0 to 1 to animate our elements. Now let's start with animating this section, and this section should be sticky in position when we scroll, and when we scroll we need to see the inner section, right? And for doing that, first of all we need to make this section sticky, but this section is already a relative position, so I cannot add the sticky over here. So let's wrap this section with another div. Let me do that here by saying div, and then I can add a class name to it, sticky, and another class name maybe top 0. Okay, and if I do that, it will add these classes over here with the new wrapper div. And if I save it, now this section is sticky. When I scroll, it is stay in the screen. Once that is done, I need to reveal the inner section. For that I can use the mask image. Okay, so I can use the mask image over here, and how that works is I can just say style, and let me just put the mask image first. Okay, and I can provide a linear gradient, and I can provide a black color over here, and maybe transparent here, transparent. Okay, I misspell it, so I have to say TRAN, yes, parent. Okay, now we are here, and then let's say for now it is at 100% this color, and the transparent is also starting at only 100, so we do not see transparent at first. Okay, this will not change anything, but if I change the percentage over here, let's say 50, you can see we can see the inner section, half of it and half of this one. So if I again change this to maybe 20, so we can see little bit of this section and 80% of this section, right? So depending on this percentage value, we can actually see this inner section or this outer section, right? So we have to tie that linear gradient mask image with this scroll position. For that I will use another hook from framer motion that will be use transform. Now what we can do is we can come over here and say const mask image, okay, and equals to use transform hook, and we can use this scroll y progress over here, and from scroll y progress from 0 to 0.20. so when this scroll y position is value is from 0, because this is the top section, so it will start the animating from 0 until this scroll y progress is 0.20, okay. And remember, the maximum value of scroll y progress is 1, and here we want to convert it from, let's say, let me put this on the different line, and we can just come here and say this value, I want this value, right? Control C over here, and all right, but at the beginning when it is at the top, I want it to be 100%, and this one also 100%, so I do not see anything behind it. So transparent is not starting at 100, so I am not seeing anything inside it. But when this progress y is on the value of 0.20, I want something different, right? So I can just say here, change this 20 to 0. If I save it, now depending on the scroll position, we will get this mask image. Now first thing we need to do is we need to remove this, okay, and change this div to motion div to for this to work, okay, because we are using motion value over here, so we have to specify that this is a motion div so that we can use this motion value from here, okay. So we can come over here and say import this motion, all right. After that we can come here and just use this motion from this framer motion, and then this mask image will be applied, okay. If I save it now, you can see if I am at the top here, I can see this, but if I scroll, we can see the inner section. So that's how we can do this animation. So if you see here, I have given some hard-coded value for this scroll Y progress, and if we have only one animation, it would be no problem for us. But when we have multiple animation in a sequence, such hard-coded value will be very difficult to manage, right? So I want to convert these to the value that makes sense to us and will be easier to manage, okay. So if you come over here in our HTML structure and see that we have this div of height 100 view height, right? And then we have this div 300 view height, and this div another 100 vh, and then finally this div has 200 view height, okay. So in total this main container has 700 view height of the height, okay. So we can divide this 700 view height with 7 different section that has equal height of 100 view height, okay. So from this section, now we have to calculate this scroll y progress for each section, okay. So for first section, the scroll y progress is 0, okay. So that means when the scroll y progress is at 0, that means the first section is on the screen, right? Okay. So first section will be starting from counting from 0, right? So if we start the counting from 0, then we have, let's say, const section or something like that equals to total section is 6, because we count from 0. Now using math we can find out the scroll y progress for each section, okay. So meaning like for the first section when the scroll y progress is at 0, then first section is on the screen, right? And if I say 1 divided by say these sections, okay, then the next section is on the view. That means we already scroll 100 view height, okay. So on, we can do 2 divided by section, that is giving me the third section, and so on, okay. And finally, so on, and finally we can say 6 divided by section, that is 6 divided by 6, that gives us the equal to 1. That means when the scroll y progress is equal to 1, then we are at the final section, right? So there is no more space to scroll, okay. Now using this understanding, we can change this over here, this hard coded value, and I can just say 1 divided by let's say just sections, okay. Now this means when we scroll 100 view height, then I want this animation to run from 100% here, this one, to the linear gradient 0%, okay. All right, if I save it, you can see that it is working. So okay, and if you want to make it little bit slower or faster, you can just do 1.5 also here. If you save it now, this scrolling animation will be little bit slower, okay. All right, now this way it is very easier for us to understand where we are at this scrolling position, right? It will be understandable that we are on the second section, okay. So from now on, we will use this technique to calculate the beginning and ending of this animation for upcoming animations, okay. So whatever we another animation we add on, we will use something like this, so we know exactly at what point we want to start and end the animation. Now let's give some animation to this Nova code section, and we can come over here. First of all, let me just delete this use motion value event, so we don't need that anymore. Remove that from here too, and then we can come back over here, and we want to give some scale animation. So const scale scale equals to we can use transform hook, and then we can get this scroll y progress, and we want to use this scroll y progress from second screen. So 2 slash section to 3 slash sections, okay. And then we want the value to be, at first I want it to be full scale value, and when we reach to that third section, we want it to be reduced to half scale, okay. So I can save that now, and I can come over here, and then where is our that section? I think this is the section. We can come over here, we can make this motion.div section, and then we can just add a style to it, and we provide that scale, okay. So if I save it now, I scroll a little bit, it is scaled down, okay. So that's how it is working. One more thing that I want to do with this section is I want to give some rotation to it, okay. So I can just, let me just copy it so you don't have to see me typing this all, and then I can paste it, and then I want to change this scale to rotate X, okay. And then I want it to start from second and end at third section, but the rotation should be, let's say, from 0 degree, maybe some negative 15 degree, and then maybe 0 degree back. So I need another one timeline over here, for because we give here 3 data, right? So we have to provide 3 data for this scroll y position also, okay. So in between here, maybe I want it to be 2.5 divided by sections, and then we want this rotations. And let me just copy this two more time, paste it and paste it, and the another one will be rotate Y, and this one should be rotate Z. And let me change some value over here. Maybe let's make it 20 maybe. Okay, and the jet rotation maybe 3. Okay, and the timeline will be same, that will be fine, and we have to include those over here. So I can say rotate X, rotate Y, and rotate Z. Okay, and save it, and let's check. Yes, this is kind of rotating on this one, but to make it look little bit nicer, we need to provide some perspective to this. Let me just add with a style, because Tailwind don't have the perspective class. You can either put it on the utility, layer to the Tailwind, but let me just make it faster over here by just applying it by this style. And I can say perspective, let me just give it like 2000 px. Okay, so right now I see something like that. If I come over here and save it, I don't know how to describe it, but it will give us some perspective to it. Now you see here that this section animation is over before this card component come to the view, right? I want to overlap this little bit. Okay, for that I can come over here and I can say scale should be until 3.5. Okay, let me just provide this one also 3.5, and I don't want to change everything here because this scale will be same. So let me just make it another const value, that will be rotate timeline or something equals to this value over here. Okay, paste it over here because I'm gonna add some more into this timeline, so I don't want to do it everywhere. So let me just say rotate timeline here, and I can just change these two also with that rotate timeline. Okay, and this works still the same way. Okay, but now before this rotation complete, we get this, right? Because we make it 3.5 over here. All right, now when we are ending this animation at the last section or something, so we want this to scale back and repeat this same animation, rotation animation, right? So let me just add it over here on this timeline. So maybe on the fourth find 5 screen sections, I want this animation to run again. Let me check what I did here. So I want to repeat it little bit similarly from 2 to 2.5 to 3.5. So I raised from 2.5 here, fifth sections, and until, let me just say 6, that is fine. You can just say 1 also because it is the last section, but if we add more height to this main container ladder, if we put it 1, this will break. So just put it like this, and that will make more sense. So let me see. So I already added these more onto the timeline. Now I have to copy all of these. Okay, because we need 6 data over there. We have 6 input, then we need a 6 output also. Let me just copy this also, and similarly it will repeat from 0 to 20 to 0. Okay, and over here same thing, Control C and Control V. If I save it, now we get this, scale down animation, we get this card, and we get this. Oh, this is not working. Why is this not working? Because we need to change the scale too. So we have to do the same thing again on this also. So from 4.5 slash sections, oh, section to this last section, right? We want to repeat this same thing again. So from 0.5 to 1, I want this animation to run. So if you see again, from here we coming, and then this one is just going back to this section, okay? Something like that. Okay, all right. Now only thing is to add some parallax effect to these cards if you want to do that. Okay, so we can do that also, just applying the same rules. Maybe const let's say y1 equals to, we want to get this use transform hook, and then we will use this scroll y progress from, I know this section is on the fourth section, right? So I want it to run from when we have third section in the view, and when we pass this fourth section and reach to this fifth section. Okay, fifth section, I think that will make sense. And why this is showing error, because I need to put this one on the array. Okay, after that I can say what value I want for this y1, 200 to negative 200, something like that. Just give some random values that make sense. We can change it later also. Now copy this and we can paste it over here. So I need maybe 4 of it because I have 4 cards, so we will give some random this y value transformation. Okay, and maybe I want this one from, let's just change it from negative 200 to positive 200, so this has different. I want y to be 0, maybe here like a negative 500 maybe. Let me make this one 0. Okay, from maybe this one from 100 or something. So we get this 2, 3, and let me make it 4. All right, now we can use those over here. So if I have shown you earlier, this parallax image will take style. We already added this as motion.div, and we can provide this style over here like so. So we can just say over here style, and then just provide this y as y1. Okay, now we have to repeat all of this, control C, and maybe I just want to put it over here, and over here. Just change this y to 2, maybe to this to 3, and maybe this to 4 or something like that. Let's see, we get some transition or not. Yes, so this is, you can see this one and this one moving on the different speed, right? You can see it is coming from the bottom and moving in the different speed. Okay, so let me just change for these also. This looks kind of similarly moving on the top, same ways. You can play with around with this one. Okay, just change a little bit so that you can get a different moving speeds. Okay, all right, now I think we are almost done. Let me make it this bigger now. Okay, so you can make it look little bit good also, style it as your accordingly. So we get this section, we get this, and we get this flying cards thing, we get this, and now this is gone. All right, one thing I want to do here again is these sections are not smoothly scrolling, right? It's kind of jumpy. So to make it little bit smoother, I can come over here in terminal. I can say npm install Lenish. Okay, I can install this Lenish package. Okay, this will make our scrolling smooth. Okay, very good package. So after it's done, you can come to the top, and from here you can say import from Lenish slash react. Okay, and from here we can import react Lenish. Okay, and we can use that on this one. Okay, just write down over here react Lenish, right? And just provide root to this. And now if I save it, this should be very smoothly scrolling, right? Now slowly moving, not jumpy. So this is how it looks right now. Okay, all right. And you can customize this as your need, but it looks, the basic is this. Okay, I think this conclude this video. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.